Captains, be ready to take notes. We're about to witness scenes of glorious battle in Replay Rundown. You send us replays of your battles. We show them off to the wider world. This is how we roll. Let's start our video with the main battle right away. The total annihilation of all maritime material on the Land of Fire map by US Tier 10 battleship Rhode Island. First, she lands a hit to a hostile cruiser's citadel with her main guns. Buffalo is left with no choice but to sink a moment later. Then, the hunt for a destroyer begins. Well, not that much of a hunt. Rhode Island is pretty much standing still, aiming at the spotted destroyer and showering her with shells from a distance of 9 kilometers. A shot with the right lead and the opponent goes down. Next, Rhode Island shows us all her firing rate and accuracy. She finishes off another destroyer with her secondary guns in literally a minute. After that, she hits Worcester's citadel with her main guns. Then she circles an island, turns her main guns toward a battleship, shoots. We'll leave you hanging here. You'll find out how Rhode Island finishes up later in the video. Let's now proceed to the highlights of replays sent in by our players. The last shot award goes to a player helming British Tier 10 battleship Incomparable for a spectacular salvo before going down. Having miraculously survived a duel with a hostile battleship, the player starts turning his ship toward a smokescreen where Kutuzov is hiding. The trajectory of the shells flying from behind it reveals the position of the enemy ship. And at this precise moment, Incomparable notices the torpedoes approaching at full speed. Mere seconds before a certain death, and Incomparable sends her last salvo into the smoke. The torpedoes meet her hull, and the battleship sinks. But her shells are still in the air. An instant later, her AP shells reach Kutuzov's citadel and send the Tier 8 cruiser to feed the fish. Incomparable's captain earns the "It's just a flesh wound" achievement with this amazing last shot. The Tightrope Walker of the Month award goes to a player helming Tier 10 cruiser Colbert. Hiding in smoke and showering opponents with shells from within, the player notices 15 torpedoes approaching in a wide spread. Colbert switches to full speed ahead and shifts his rudder as hard as possible. The radius is calculated to a centimeter. As a result, all torpedoes miss the ship, while the player stays in the smoke and continues his stealth shooting. Another award, Duelist of the Month, goes to a player helming a Tier 10 ship. But this time, it's Des Moines. Her repair party and damage control party consumables are on cooldown when the ship is caught by a sonic ping from a submarine, and homing torpedoes are inbound. The cruiser encounters a hostile Howden Liu in a narrow corridor between the islands, and it seems that the scenario isn't in favor of Des Moines. On top of that, while shifting the rudder to the right, Des Moines' stern collides with an island. By all accounts, this should have thrown her on her back completely, but instead of going down from a possible ram, Des Moines fires several crushing shots with AP shells at Howden Liu, passes by her starboard, and having managed to turn her main guns, strikes the enemy cruiser's citadel. 3 more salvos from Des Moines, and Howden Liu is destroyed. The next award is Underdog of the Battle, and Tier 6 aircraft carrier Ark Royal is the underdog here. The obvious favorite in this duel is hostile cruiser Ellie, which has spotted the aircraft carrier and is trying to get close to her from behind an island. Ark Royal launches a squadron of attack aircraft and strikes the cruiser from above. She follows up with a torpedo bomber squadron while trying to accelerate to full speed. The cruiser is literally a couple of kilometers from Ark Royal. All 3 torpedoes hit the opponent. The aircraft makes a turn and drops another torpedo package. The cruiser has launched her own torpedoes at the aircraft carrier. Destruction is inevitable. The aircraft carrier dodges at the last moment, and Ellie goes down. Suspense worthy of a Hitchcock thriller. Let's come back to the finale of the battle with Rhode Island. We left her at the moment when she fired a salvo at battleship Mecklenburg. The shells reach the Tier 10 opponent and sink her. Next, the star battleship hits a cruiser Citadel and sends her back to the port for an overhaul. Another salvo successfully persuades Castilla to join Worcester in the port. But the shells Castilla fired before going down reach Rhode Island. And she proudly sinks with excellent final statistics. A victory in the battle, 5 destroyed ships, 5 Citadel hits, and almost 210,000 dealt damage. And this isn't counting the 5 achievements she earned, including double strike. These are the kind of statistics that make us truly proud. We'll show you the best highlights of the current update in the next episode. For detailed instructions on how to send us a replay, see our special video on the World of Warships YouTube channel. Keep sending us your replays. We watch every one of them.